Hi, fifth graders. Today we're working on writing again, and we're going right back to where we had left off on Friday of last week. That great writers will choose a really small moment and really elaborate, really add a lot of details to the writing in order to make the reader interested in what was happening. So, looking at the screen right now, I want you to remember to only focus on the seed and not on the whole melon. So a whole melon topic might be what I did for my birthday. That's a whole great big idea. But then if we narrow it down, we might talk about friends that were at your birthday party. But if we narrowed it down even tighter or closer or smaller, we might talk about one friend, or we might talk about the games only. So instead of talking about the birthday cake and the presents and the games and who was there and that we went outside and that we stayed inside, we would focus in on just what games you played or just what friend was did something amazing. So we're really focusing in on something really small. And I think sometimes that worries us. We think, "Oh my gosh, am I going to be able to write enough?" But of course you are, because you're going to really give us the details. So you're going to give us every single detail of what happened. You're going to tell us, what did you hear? What did you see? What did you feel? What did you smell? Those are the emotions that's really going to build the story. You're going to try to add more details to your story. Sometimes we just have to close our eyes and sit back and think of that day and think, oh, yeah, that was what was going on in the background. Or, oh, yes, I remember that happened, and then that happened, and then that happened. And I'm going to give you a little example today, because today you're going to actually write a seed story, a really small event with lots of details. So if I can get your attention just to look at these anchor charts for a moment, they just give you some ideas. So we look at this first one and it says, I took a trip to the beach. That's a great big idea. If you went to the beach, you could see things and you would hear things, and maybe you saw a dolphin, or maybe you played in the sand, or maybe you splashed in the water, or maybe you saw something exciting happen, like a helicopter land in the water, or an airplane or something. So we have I took a trip to the beach, and then we narrow it down to I spent the whole day at the ocean. So it's not going to be about your whole vacation. It would be about that one day. And then we build it down, pull it down even farther, and it says, I built a sand castle. That's what the whole story is going to be about. And how did the sand cooperate that day? Was it able to pack really nice? Did a wave wash it away? How big was the sand castle? What did the sand castle look like? That's what a seed story is giving us all the details of just the sandcastle, not who was at the beach, not what beach were you at, none of those details. We want just about the sandcastle. Here's another one down here that said watermelon stories, big stories with lots and lots of details. That would be a multi-page story. We're not doing that today. We're not writing a watermelon story. We are writing a seed story. And it says right below there, a seed story. Pick a small detail, like a small little seed that you pick out of the watermelon, from that big watermelon story to write about. And then just one more, a big topic, which is the entire watermelon might be one day it snowed. Okay, there are lots and lots of days that snow, so let's get it smaller. What one day are you talking about? Well, the one day is we went out to play in the snow. All right, so now I know that you're playing in the snow, but what small detail could you pull from that? And it might be on the first snow day of the year, we had an epic snowball fight. Okay, that's one. Those are some ideas of what we're going to do. So what I have next is a practice a seed story today with a really small event and lots of details. I'm going to give you a graphic organizer. I want you to fill this out. As you've seen, I'm really good over here at using dashes or using bullet points or separating things, and that's what I want you to do. What are some things that you saw on that small event? What are some things that you heard? What are some things that you smelled or tasted? And how did you feel? Or what did you feel? So those are some ideas, and you should be able to come up with about 2 or 3. Doesn't mean you're going to use them all in their story, but that's how that starts. Okay, so seeds, ideas, they play a movie in your mind, as we remember them. This happened, and then that happened, and oh, that happened. They're vivid. You can remember the details almost as if you were there again. And when we add all those details in our writing, we're creating a movie in the mind of the reader. And that's our idea. Not for us as the writer just to put everything that happened down on a piece of paper, but to make that reader be able to truly understand what was happened that day. It requires detail, focus, and purpose. And all of these things make your writing good. So I have a sample I'm going to pull up and start right here. Okay, here we go with that sample writing. I had to pause the video so I could get my screen sized right so that we could see it. So there's going to be a little label that you're going to get from the teacher that says seed story writing. Take a big idea and focus in on one detail. We're going to put that at the top of our page in our writing notebook. Now, I've written a couple things here to help me get focused because I can't flip back and forth on the screens. My watermelon idea, my whole thing that I decided I'm going to write about is a camping weekend at Salamone Park. I went with some friends and we had a great time. But that's too big because that was 3 days long. I can't write about the whole weekend. That would be so many details that my paper would be like 5 pages long, and I'm not doing that today. So then I thought, well, what part of the camping trip did I really like? And that's my slice of watermelon, and that was the boat ride. So now I've got it narrowed down. I'm not going to talk about my camper. I'm not going to talk about anything else. I'm going to talk about the actual boat ride. Well, the seed that I picked out of the watermelon is the storm that we had when we were on the boat. So I've got it down to where I am just going to talk about the storm that was on the boat that was at Salamone Park. So this builds up. Now, what I saw, what I heard, what I smelled, what I felt, those are the graphic organizer pieces that you guys are supposed to write out. So I'm going to come down here where I would normally begin my writing and think, what did I see on that day? Well, I saw rain. I saw other boats. I saw lightning, L-I-G-H-T, lightning. I saw wind, birds, waves. I saw laughing friends. And then I'm going to see, what did I hear? Well, I just said I heard laughing. I heard lots of joking, lots of teasing each other. I heard lots of loud bangs. I actually could hear the wind howling that day. It was so bad. What did I smell or taste? Well, we weren't eating anything, so what would I taste? I tasted rain in my mouth. I tasted, I think that's about all I tasted. What did I smell? Have you ever smelled rain sometimes? So again, I smelled rain. I could smell coldness. I could smell the wet. And what did I feel, or how did I feel? In the beginning, I felt joyful. It was fun. We were laughing. We were excited. We were having a great time. But then I began to get a little scared because the storm was really coming up and the lightning was bad. So I felt scared. I kind of felt foolish. We were out in the middle of a boat and people were watching us and it was raining. So now I have some ideas of what I'm going to write, and I'm going to begin to write my story, and I'm going to plan it out from the boat ride only. I am not going to tell you about camping in Salamone Park. So I'm going to say, okay. It was a cloudy Saturday morning, and my friends and I rented a boat to enjoy for the day. We headed out onto the water, and we were laughing and talking and looking for a place to swim. Looking for a place to swim. We found the perfect place and anchored the boat. We all jumped in the water, and soon the sky started turning dark. You know what? I didn't even write that up in my what I saw, because that's what I did see. I saw the sky turning dark. Now, I've kind of given an introduction of what was going on that day. I'm going to bounce down here and I'm going to start a new paragraph. My new paragraph is going to be about all that darkness rolling in. And then I'm going to start another paragraph, and it's going to be about the rain that started pelting us. So I've started to separate this into some different paragraphs, and then I'm not even close to being done with this. I'm going to have to go back and edit it. This is what your job is to do for our day 7 task.